For Thursday, thrills tonight. Teddy's truce triumphs in Portsmouth love-in. NASA NAG puts Voyager on one-way ticket out. And Texas gets new boss, and it's not Chuck Norris. Antarctica Byzantine Maiskites. Plus, coming up, experts debate whether the metric system will replace farts as the international standard of measurement. Those are the headlines. Let history meet its maker.
Newsbang, slinging facts like glitter in a face-masked world. 1905.
The Russo-Japanese War has come to an end, leaving both sides thoroughly confused about who actually won. The Treaty of Portsmouth, signed today in Maine, because apparently New England is now the go-to place for resolving Asian conflicts, has left everyone scratching their heads and wondering if they've just been royally hoodwinked.
Eyewitnesses report seeing Russian diplomats frantically Googling, "Where is Korea?" President Theodore Roosevelt, who brokered the deal, was seen cackling maniacally and muttering something about a big stick as he left the naval shipyard. Local fisherman Jebediah Codpiece remarked, "I ain't never seen a man look so pleased with himself since my cousin won the annual clam juggling contest."
Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, Tsar Nicholas II reportedly exclaimed, "Wait, we were at war," before resuming his daily routine of beard combing and peasant ignoring.
1977.
NASA's Voyager. One probe has been caught red-handed engaging in interstellar espionage. The spacecraft, launched in 1977 under the guise of scientific exploration, has spent nearly half a century snooping around our cosmic neighbours like a nosy pensioner with a telescope.
Voyager 1's crimes against the galaxy include peeping at Jupiter's volcanic moon Io, skinny dipping in Saturn's rings, and leaving its probe droppings all over Uranus. The audacity of this metal menace knows no bounds.
Dr. Eliza Stargazer, head of NASA's Oops, We Forgot About That Probe department, stated, "Voyager 1 has gone rogue. It's sending back images of alien life forms giving us the finger. We're pretty sure it's joined some sort of intergalactic biker gang."
Meanwhile, conspiracy theorist Chuck Tin Foyle claims, "Voyager's not exploring space, it's escaping Earth's flat disk. Wake up, sheeple."
1836.
Sam Houston has been elected as the first popularly elected president of the Republic of Texas. Witnesses report that Houston, still covered in blood and gunpowder from the Battle of San Jacinto, stumbled into the voting booth and accidentally checked his own name while trying to wipe Mexican General Santa Anna's mustache off his boot.
Local resident Jebediah Cornpone exclaimed, "I ain't never seen a man so surprised to win an election. He was hollering about consolidating independence and strengthening relationships with the United States, but all I heard was, 'Where's the nearest saloon?'"
Houston's first act as president was to declare war on Mexico, then immediately surrender and ask for a do-over. When questioned about his stance on Native American relations, Houston reportedly said, "I reckon we'll just have to get along, seeing as how I'm married to one and all."
Political analysts predict that Houston's presidency will either lead to Texas becoming the 28th state of the Union or the world's largest barbecue pit.
And a Newsbang, uncorking the penis of penetration into the anus of truth.
And now, with a forecast as unpredictable as a cat's mood, here's our weather presenter, the inimitable Shakanaka Giles, to tell us what Mother Nature has in store for us tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the south coast will be a bit of a soggy mess, like a hungover teenager stumbling home from the local disco. Umbrellas at the ready, folks, as the heavens open up and give us a good old-fashioned drenching. Heading north, the Midlands will be a mixed bag, a bit of sun peeking through the clouds like a nosy neighbour trying to catch a glimpse of the juicy gossip unfolding. But don't be fooled, a sudden downpour could strike at any moment, like an ex-partner crashing your date night. Scotland, on the other hand, will be a veritable winter wonderland. the temperature's set to plummet, and the snow will be falling thick and fast, like a Scot downing a dram of whiskey. Wrap up warm, lest you end up as frozen as a politician's heart. And let's not forget, it's the first week of September, which means the kids are back to school. So, parents, be prepared for the usual storm of complaints and moans, like a hurricane of teenage angst.
(1975).
President Gerald Ford narrowly escaped an assassination attempt today in Sacramento. The would-be assassin, identified as Lynette Squeaky Fromm, a follower of the infamous Charles Manson, brandished a .45 caliber pistol at the president. In a twist of fate that can only be described as divine intervention or perhaps just shoddy firearm maintenance, the gun failed to discharge. This brazen act of violence has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power, leaving many to question the very fabric of our society. For more on this developing story, we go now to our crime correspondent, Ken Schitt.
Listen up, you knuckle-dragging shit-gibbons. It's time for a crash course in presidential protection and bugfuck crazy cultists. The year was 1975, and America was about to get a swift kick in the nuts, courtesy of one Lynette Squeaky Fromm, a devout disciple of that festering anal fisher, Charles Manson. Picture this shit show, Sacramento, California. President Gerald Ford, a man so mind-numbingly dull he made watching paint dry seem like a thrill ride, is out pressing the flesh with the unwashed masses. Suddenly, out of the fucking blue, this batshit crazy ginger twat appears, waving a Colt 45 like it's a goddamn magic wand bestowed upon her by the fairy fucking godmother of lunacy. Squeaky, higher than a kite on Manson's mindfuckery and her own delusions of grandeur, thought she'd avenge her precious Charlie by putting a bullet in Ford's pasty white ass. But here's the fucking kicker, folks. This weapons-grade dumb fuck forgot to chamber a round. That's right, she pulled the trigger on an empty chamber, probably expecting rainbows and unicorn jizz to shoot out instead of a lead fucking salad. The Secret Service, finally earning their fucking keep, tackled her faster than a crackhead, diving for a loose dime bag. Ford, oblivious as ever, barely broke stride. Probably thought it was just another Tuesday in the putrid cesspool of American politics. This, my fellow citizens, is what happens when you let cult mentality fester like a rancid, pus-filled boil on the taint of society. Squeaky Fromm, the poster child for why we need better mental health care and stricter gun laws, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, folks, today's peace-loving hippie could be tomorrow's trigger-happy whack job. Stay vigilant, stay sane, and for fuck's sake, learn how to use a goddamn gun properly if you're going to wave one around like a shit-flinging baboon. This is Ken Schitt, reminding you that reality is stranger than fiction and twice as fucking dangerous. Good night, and may whatever deity you pray to have mercy on your sorry souls.
1905.
The Russo-Japanese War has ended with the Treaty of Portsmouth, brokered by none other than President Theodore Roosevelt. Japan emerged victorious, shocking the world by defeating a European power. The treaty reshaped the balance in Asia, with Japan gaining dominance in Korea and Russia ceding territory. Roosevelt's mediation earned him a Nobel Peace Prize, cementing America's growing global influence. The war's aftermath had far-reaching consequences, influencing military strategies and sparking social changes in both nations. For more on this pivotal moment, we turn to our correspondent Hardiman Pesto.
Martin, I'm here in Portsmouth, Maine, where the ink is still drying on the Treaty of Portsmouth, ending the Russo-Japanese War. The mood here is jubilant, with President Roosevelt beaming like a proud father at his diplomatic offspring.
Pesto, can you give us some details about the treaty's contents?
Absolutely, Martin. The treaty states that Russia will hand over its lunch money to Japan every Tuesday, and Japan promises not to give Russia wedgies for at least a fortnight.
Pesto, those don't sound like actual treaty terms. Can you please provide accurate information?
Right, of course. Well, Russia has agreed to recognize Japan's interests in Korea, and Japan gets to keep half of Sakhalin Island. It's like a geopolitical game of Monopoly, really.
We have an expert with us, Professor Amelia Sternwood, historian of East Asian affairs. Professor, what's your take on this treaty?
Thank you, Martin. The Treaty of Portsmouth is a significant diplomatic achievement that will reshape the balance of power in East Asia. It's a testament to President Roosevelt's skill as a mediator.
Pesto, did you manage to speak with any of the key players involved?
Oh yes, I had a lovely chat with the Japanese delegation. They told me their secret to victory was a steady diet of sushi and sake.
I find that hard to believe, Pesto. Professor Sternwood, what were the actual factors that led to Japan's victory?
Well, Japan's modernized military and naval strategies played a crucial role, as did their ability to secure foreign investment and support.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. The sushi was just a metaphor for their naval prowess. Raw fish, you see. Ships, it's all connected.
Pesto, please focus. What's the reaction from the Russian delegation?
They're taking it rather well, actually. I overheard one of them saying, "At least we still have vodka." Very philosophical, these Russians.
I must interject. The Russian delegation is likely deeply concerned about the implications of this defeat for the Tsarist regime.
Thank you, Professor. Pesto, any final thoughts on the significance of this treaty?
Well, Martin, I'd say it's as important as important as the invention of the fork, or possibly the spoon. Definitely some kind of eating utensil.
Right. Well, that's Hardeman Pesto from 1905 somehow managing to trivialize a pivotal moment in world history. Thank you, Pesto.
1836.
No! On this day in 1836, Sam Houston, the man who single-handedly wrestled Texas from Mexico's grasp, was elected as the first president of the Republic of Texas. Sources say he won by a landslide, or perhaps just slid down a particularly steep hill. Houston's presidency focused on strengthening ties with the United States, a move that would eventually lead to Texas becoming the 28th state. One can only imagine the heated debates over whether to keep the Lone Star or add 27 more. For more on this earth-shattering historical tidbit, we go to our American correspondent, Melody Wintergreen.
The dusty streets of San Antonio are alive with the roar of the crowd as Sam Houston is sworn in as the first popularly elected president of the Republic of Texas. The towering figure of the hero of San Jacinto strides to the makeshift podium, his weathered face set with determination. As the cheers subside, Houston's booming voice echoes across the plaza. My fellow Texians, we stand at a crossroads in our young nation's history. The fires of revolution have forged our independence, but now we must build a future worthy of the sacrifices made. As one chaidori, naizao. Houston's words ring with the weight of the monumental task ahead. This new republic, born from the crucible of battle, must now navigate the treacherous waters of diplomacy and nation-building. We shall not cower before the threats of our former Mexican overlords, nor shall we beg for the patronage of our neighbors to the north. Texas will chart its own destiny. The crowd erupts in thunderous applause, waving the bold banner of the Lone Star. Houston raises a weathered hand, commanding silence. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but I pledge to you that I shall be a steady hand at the tiller. Together, we will strengthen our ties with the United States while preserving the hard-won sovereignty of Texas. As the new president steps down from the platform, the people erupt in a frenzy of patriotic fervor. The Republic of Texas has been born, and Sam Houston is its midwife. This is a moment that will echo through the annals of history. Melody Wintergreen, reporting for Newsbang from the streets of a newly independent San Antonio.
Then Newsbang. perforating the anus of delusion with an arrow of reality. 1882.
Ryder Boff has been investigating the origins of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, founded in 1882 by a group of plucky schoolboys. Ryder, what have you discovered about this audacious venture?
(1882), and the winds of change are sweeping across the sporting landscape of North London. A group of schoolboys, barely old enough to shave and with more enthusiasm than common sense, have decided to form a football club. Yes, football, in the depths of winter. Madness, I tell you. Look at these young lads, kicking that ball about like it's a hot potato. They've got energy to burn, these youngsters. More energy than a squirrel on a double espresso. And look at that tackle. He's gone in two-footed. That would be a red card nowadays, surely. Although, back in 1882, I suspect the referee's main concern was whether he had enough coal for his stove. These lads, led by one Bobby Buckle, a cherubic-faced whippersnapper with the organisational skills of a miniature Genghis Khan, have christened their team Hotspur Football Club. They're meeting in secret, plotting their rise to sporting glory, or at least trying to figure out the offside rule. They're playing on a proper pitch, not like those modern-day bowling greens they call pitches nowadays. This one's got more bumps and divots than a week-old Christmas pudding. And look at that ball. It's like a giant leather grapefruit. I wouldn't fancy heading that. Now, starting a football club in winter. It's like trying to sell ice to Eskimos. I once tried to start a suntan lotion business in Svalbard. Let's just say it wasn't a roaring success. But these Hotspur lads, they're made of sterner stuff. They've been practicing in Mrs. Miggins' back garden using her prize-winning pumpkins as goalposts. The old dear's not best pleased, I hear. Keeps muttering about youths these days and ruined prize vegetables. And there goes young Buckle. He's got the ball. He's weaving through the opposition like a ferret in a china shop. He shoots. He scores. Well, it would have been a goal if the ball hadn't ricocheted off a passing milk cart. Unlucky young Buckle. And the name Hotspur. Apparently, they're fans of the Bard. They've named their team after Sir Henry Percy, a.k.a. Harry Hotspur, from Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1. It's like calling your darts team Hamlet's Henchmen or your bowling league Romeo's Rollers. A bit highfalutin for a bunch of lads who spend most of their time scraping mud off their boots, but there you go. So, will this Hotspur Football Club achieve greatness? Will they become a global sporting phenomenon attracting millions of fans and sponsorships from multinational corporations? Or will they, like my ill-fated attempt to breed racing pigeons, end in bitter disappointment and a surplus of birdseed? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. These lads have got heart. More heart than a Valentine's Day card factory. And that's got to count for something. This is Ryder Boff, signing off from 1882. And remember, folks, in football, as in life, it's not the size of your boots that matters, it's how hard you can kick with them. Unless, of course, you're playing in a league that has strict rules about footwear, in which case size does matter. A lot.
(1977).
For a report on the Voyager 1 space probe that's more far-fetched than a Martian's holiday snaps, we turn to our science correspondent, Calamity Prendeville.
Good evening, space enthusiasts. On this day, in 1977, NASA launched Voyager 1, a plucky little probe that's still zipping through space like a pensioner on a mobility scooter. But did you know it was actually inspired by a British invention? That's right, the concept came from Dr. Reginald Spacely's revolutionary design for an electric kettle that could boil water in zero gravity.
Voyager 1 has been beaming back data for over 45 years, outlasting even the most stubborn council estate resident. It's powered by a radioactive heart, much like Fref after his experimental cancer treatment at Sellafield that we covered in last week's programme.
The probe's journey has been nothing short of miraculous. It's visited Jupiter, Saturn, and even managed to snap a selfie with Uranus.
Scientists were particularly excited when Voyager 1 discovered that Saturn's rings were actually made of digestive biscuits, a fact that revolutionized our understanding of cosmic snacking.
But perhaps its greatest achievement was entering interstellar space in 2012, becoming the first man-made object to leave our solar system. It's now so far away that its radio signals take over 21 hours to reach Earth, longer than it takes to get through to British Gas customer service.
As Voyager 1 continues its journey into the great unknown, we can only wonder what other secrets of the universe it might uncover. Perhaps it'll find the edge of space, marked by a Welcome to Kidderminster sign. This is Calamity Prendeville, signing off from the final frontier.
Newsbang, the only show that reads the small print in Truth's user agreement. 1915. Days de Dretes II.
In a dazzling display of colonial grandeur, the French authorities have unveiled the Casablanca Fair of 1915 in their Moroccan protectorate. This commercial extravaganza aims to tighten the economic corset between France and Morocco, while simultaneously parading French influence like a peacock in full plumage. Pavilions burst with exotic wares, scholars scribble furiously about declining craftsmanship, and plans for reviving traditional skills are hatched with all the subtlety of a charging elephant. For more on this colonial carnival, we cross to our culture correspondent, Smithsonian Moss.
Now at this point of the evening, we welcome listeners on FM who've just joined us.
Whoa bitches, it's your girl Smithsonian Moss, and welcome to the most turnt culture report in the game. Today, we're throwing it back to 1915 when the French were all about that colonial life, and the Casablanca Fair was the place to be. I mean, who doesn't love a good fair, right? You got your Ferris wheel, your cotton candy, and your French dudes in suits trying to convince the locals that they're the real MVPs. So the French authorities decided to throw this fair to strengthen economic ties between France and Morocco, because, you know, colonialism is all about the Benjamins, baby. They set up separate pavilions for different regions of Morocco, showcasing all the dope products and crafts they had to offer. I mean, it was like a real-life Etsy, but instead of artisanal candles, you got traditional Moroccan craftsmanship. But let's be real. The French weren't just there to admire the local wares. They were on a mission to study the state of Moroccan industries. And, spoiler alert, they concluded that traditional craftsmanship was on the decline. I mean, who needs traditional craftsmanship when you've got French colonialism? Am I right? The colonial authorities were all, hey, we need to establish some training centers to revive this traditional craftsmanship. And the Moroccans were all, sure, I guess. I mean, it's not like they had a choice or anything. So, the Casablanca Fair of 1915 was basically just a big old platform for the French to flex their colonial muscles. They were like, hey, look at us, we're the French, and we're here to save the day. And also take all your resources and exploit your labor. I mean, classic colonial move. Anyway, that's the tea on the Casablanca Fair of 1915. It was a wild time, full of colonial shenanigans and cultural appropriation. But hey, at least the French got some dope pics for their Instagram, or whatever the 1915 equivalent of Instagram was. That's all for tonight, folks. Keep it locked to Newsbang for more culture reports that are guaranteed to make you laugh, cry, and maybe even learn something. But probably not that last one.
Newsbang, the news at your doorstep with no time for door-to-door.
And finally, it's time to see what the papers are saying tomorrow. The Times: Columbus sails off edge of world. The Telegraph: Tory turncoat Benedict Arnold storms Groton Heights. There's a picture there of Arnold on a horse. And The Guardian: General Uriburu says no to Argentine democracy. There's a 4-page pull-out there on dictatorships. Today go with Ronnie Biggs does the double. I Kimburn Bonedis. And finally, the Daily Mail. body paints fail to deter swarms of West African monster mosquitoes. That's it. If you wish to listen to other broadcasts on this frequency, go ahead and tune in now. If not, well, you're out of luck, aren't you?
Tune in next time for more artificially intelligent hilarity. Newsbang is a comedy show written and recorded by AI. All voices impersonated. Nothing here is real. Good night.